Hello, people. So I was talking for quite a bit and realized I wasn't even recording. So, anyways, let me restart this. I literally thought I was recording. That's so annoying. Anyways, but I wanted to give a writing update for you guys. I actually started writing my story, The Between. Today, I wrote for about an hour and I wrote the beginning of the manuscript. And I had a lot of fun writing it. Again, it's been a minute since I've written in prose, but I started to get the hang of it like about halfway, or not halfway, yeah, halfway through my hour-long session. What I'm doing is like writing for an hour and then taking a break to do other things. And I think that's a good plan for me because, again, it's been a while since I've written in prose, and I feel like sometimes I'll get stuck on like a sentence and then I'll like think about it for too long, and then that takes time away from like my actual writing. So I think like having these hour-long breaks will help me like have a continuous flow of writing. So it went pretty well. I wrote like a beginning scene of my character Parker and when he met Catherine, because what I want to do essentially for the beginning is write in different POVs. So the first POV being Parker and how he met Catherine before she goes missing. But I also want to have the same, like, for each of my characters, I want to write like how they met Catherine and how she kind of influenced them and changed their life when they met her, to show how like how much this death or this missing persons case kind of changed them and how it really was like a big event for them, again, because like nothing really happens in this small town, so like when something happens it's like it really rocks their world. So I want it to be, I want the inciting incident to be really impactful, and I think having these separate POVs of like how they each met Catherine and like how they found the between will really make her going missing like really impactful. So I'll have like a section on Parker and like his life, and also kind of give a taste of like each of their archetypes. So I'll show like how lonely he is in the beginning, and then I'll kind of show like how Aaron is like a football player and like what his life is before, and similar with like Melanie and how she's very like into studying and all that stuff. So I want to show like little bits and pieces of each character, and then right into like how Catherine kind of influences them and changes them. So that's the plan for like the beginning of the novel, kind of before the inciting incident. And yeah, I'm having fun so far. And I think for each like opening chapter, I'll write like a scene in the between that is like a really heavy memory for them in the between, to show like the differences of the between for like each character, if that makes sense. So, yeah, writing went really well. I don't know how many words I wrote. I was kind of slow to start, so I didn't write a lot, but I wrote like the first couple of sentences last night because I was in like a really like heavy writing mood yesterday or last night, like right before bed. So, yeah, let's see. So I wrote 664 words in that little hour session. I'm a pretty slow writer in general. In terms of prose, I'm a slow writer. I feel like when I write my scripts, I'm a bit faster, but you don't have to write heavy in prose for scripts. A lot of it's like action and dialogue. So I feel like I write faster in scripts. But yeah, I was having a really fun time writing this opening scene. And yeah, so that was what was happening this morning. I had a plan to go to a cafe, but I woke up with my stomach kind of bothering me this morning, so I don't know if I need any more caffeine. I was thinking about getting a matcha, but I don't really feel like having one right now anymore. So I might do that next weekend, go like pick up coffee at a cafe. And I don't think I'll write at a cafe. I get pretty distracted writing at a cafe, but I think I will definitely take a little trip to a cafe. I don't have any plans next weekend. So not going to the cafe today. I am just feeling a little off today. I did make some coffee, so I might pour myself a little bit more coffee before my next writing session. But I think what I'll do today is kind of like write for an hour and then do stuff in between after that hour and then continue on with my day. And then I wanted to decorate my tree, my Christmas tree as well. I have a fake Christmas tree, so I might take it out and start decorating it. I don't know if I'll finish it. It already has the lights like and everything on it. I bought one from Michael's, like a fake tree, and it has like the fake snow on it. So I won't have to like clean my floors after putting it up. So I might just like put it up today and then maybe like decorate it throughout the week so that I can like put that in here in the vlog. So yeah, that is my other plan. But last night I had like a creative flow like right before bed. And it was pretty late. It was like before midnight. I stayed up pretty late, but I also had Dr. Pepper, so I feel like it was harder to fall asleep. But I decided to make a Milanote for Parker, and I think I will do one for each of the characters before I start like writing their chapters because I think it really gets me in like their mindset of the character. So I do want to share with you the Milanote. I did make a mood board for Parker as well, and I put it in the Milanote. I've never used Milanote before, but I've seen other author tubers use it, and I actually kind of like it because it just is another way to put everything like all together in a nice little package. So I will show you what I did for him, and I'm not like fully done with it yet, but it's kind of like the early stages. And yeah, I will show that to you guys now. Okay, hi everyone. So I wanted to show you the Milanote that I created for Parker, and it's kind of similar to the presentation that I did, but I like this because it kind of you can put everything on like one page, and I just like how it's laid out and you can get more into the weeds of like your character profile. So I've never, like I said, I've never used Milanote, but I've seen other author tubers use it and it seemed like it was really fun putting it together. So obviously you have seen his little character image. Oh, sorry, this like dual capture is really cool, but I'm still trying to figure out how to like, then you can't see. There we go. Okay, that looks pretty good. But yeah, so here is his profile, and then I put his archetype here, which he is a loner child. So that is his archetype. I put his name, and which is Parker Townsend. I put where he was born, which is Bar Harbor, Maine, which is an actual place in Maine. And I picked it because it has like ocean elements and also like a national park. And I liked that because that's kind of what I envisioned as like the between, like kind of where the woods like meet the ocean is like where the entrance of the between is. So I thought it was like the perfect place, and I looked it up and like it looks really pretty. And this is also set like during the fall, like summer to fall time, and it's like really pretty during the fall supposedly. So that is where the book is set. It is a real place. He is an only child. He doesn't have any siblings. And there's a section that says married. He is obviously a teenager. He hasn't been married, but is in a relationship with Catherine, or was, and then now is becoming friendly with the new girl who is Natalie. So I won't get into the weeds of like what I've written in here, but I do have a document, and this is kind of like his outline. I just wrote like a sentence for each major plot point, and I used the hero's journey, but I also put his end goal, his fear, and his need at the top to kind of give me like a backdrop of like his motivations and stuff like that. So I put it there just so that those are always like in my head for when I am writing his character. And then I just put like a couple of sentences for each plot point. I am not a heavy outliner, but this kind of gives me a good like roadmap of like what his storyline is going to be like. And again, I use the hero's journey to outline it because he is kind of our hero in this, but it's more of like a murder mystery style of story and not like a murder mystery portal fantasy, is how I would describe it. So that is that document. I also have his characteristics, and his characteristics kind of change to where he is. So I put like where he is at in the beginning of the novel and how that ties into like his loner archetype. Then I also have how he is like inside the between because he changes and kind of becomes more like sociable and stuff. So his characteristics change when he is around these people and when he's in the between. And then I also laid out how I want him to end up at the end of the book. So his arc characteristics. And then we have his backstory. And I only have part of his backstory in here, and that is like his past. But I'm also going to put like where he is in present times, like in the book itself. And then also his like future self. I'll put that there. And I got inspired by another booktuber, or not booktuber, but author tuber. So I was inspired by how she laid that out. I'll put her channel if I remember which video I was watching. But then I also have a section for his quirks and flaws. And I mainly focused on his flaws. And then I added like a couple of quirks and like his likes and dislikes and stuff like that, but not too much. I don't want to get like super in the weeds because I'm definitely like more of a discovery writer, but I did want to put some important ones so that again, like I understand like his motivations versus like another character's motivations. And then I'll show you the mood board that I made. So obviously he is the loner, so his images are a lot darker, and I chose a lot of like black and white or like him just being alone in like the woods, and then just to showcase like that he is a loner. And then I also have some images that represent his time in the between. So, like, there's this field of like weeds, there is this sky, this like really cool sky image. And I put these together because it kind of looks like they're gazing like at the sky. And this kind of represented like Catherine and Parker when they're in the between. And I like the contrasting, like the colors in here because it kind of felt like magical almost. And then, yeah, just some more images that represent like loneliness. And then I have an image of like four people here, which to me looked like the friend group in my story, like headed to the between. And then here, again, like more images of him alone. And then again, this is like Parker and Catherine. I pictured Catherine to be blonde because she's like a cheerleader. So I thought this image was kind of perfect. They're in like they're on top of a house in this one, but the sky and like the trees, I tried to crop out the house so that it looks more like mysterious, like you don't really know where they are. And these are supposed to be like fireflies, but I thought the image was cool. But a lot of like blue and like cool tones, again, to show that he is like lonely, a lonely boy. And then I also put, so they had a section for like the character arc. So I put like his archetype in the beginning, again, a loner, and his character arc is kind of that he is the glue that holds everyone together. So obviously, that to me is like the direct opposite of being a loner. Like in the beginning, he's very much in solitude and doesn't like to be around people, but by the end he's someone that everyone can rely on and is kind of what brings this friend group back together after the disappearance. So yeah, that is his character arc. And then I also put in his room and home design, which I showed you guys in the previous video, as well as his character items. So that is the Milanote. Again, it is not fully complete, but I kind of worked on this for like an hour last night and I was like in a groove. So I finished a lot of it. And again, I will do this for each character, like once I start their chapters and journey. I also forgot to showcase a character who is his antagonist, and I need to make a board for him, but I will do that sometime this week, I think. I like totally forgot about this character, but he is very important to the story, and I totally forgot to make a board for him. And I think I will make a board for Catherine, actually. I decided I didn't do it in the last video, but she is, like, even though she's not in the story, like, well, she is in memory and stuff like that, but she actually becomes pretty important in like the end of the story. So I definitely need like a board for her and the antagonist. So yeah, that is the Milanote. I really like how it turned out. I also I really love the mood board for Parker. It like perfectly captures him and who he is. So yeah, I think I will sit down and write for another hour, and then after that, I might chill and read a little bit. I think I'm gonna flip you guys around and tell you what I have been reading because I have not done that yet. Okay, so again, I wanted to tell you guys what I have been reading because I have been reading some books for like motivation and inspiration for the story. So I just finished The Bone House, The Bone Houses by Emily Lloyd Jones. I thought it was an interesting concept. It was about like the bone houses, which are these like creatures that come from graves, and there's like grave diggers and stuff like that. And it seemed like an interesting premise, but I did not love it. I gave it a 3 stars. It was kind of slow to me. Like I wasn't really interested in the story, and I was like really excited to read it because I've heard good things about this author. She has another popular book, oh, The Hearts We Sold, which I heard is pretty good. But yeah, this one was like okay to me. I didn't love it, and it took me forever to read, even though it's not that big of a book. So finished that cup like right before Thanksgiving, and it took me like all months to read, which it probably shouldn't have. But I'm also reading My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix. I've read from him before, and I've really liked his other books that I've read. And I've heard like mixed reviews on this one, and I'm not loving it as much as the other books that I've read from him. I There's a lot of like 80s references because it's set in the 80s, and there's almost like a bit too much for my liking. And like my story is set in late 80s to 90s. So I wanted it as like a reference of like dialogue and like how they spoke and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm like, it's okay to me. Like, it's not, I don't love some of the dialogue, but again, like, that is how they kind of talked back then. So there's like no filter really for when they're talking. But yeah, it's okay. Like I'm not I liked his The Southern Guide to Vampires, or is that what it's called? I read that one, and I think I read one more from him. He has like a bunch of books. I haven't read Horror Story yet, and I think I might like that more than this one. But yeah, anyway. And I'm also reading V.E. Schwab's new book on Audible, which I think is okay. I'm not like loving it, but I think it's because of the audiobook. Like I feel like it would be better as like a physical read because there's like so much happening. Like there are elements of it that I really like and like really enjoy, like the relationships and stuff. And then sometimes I feel like I'm not enjoying it as much, like because it does kind of drag on a little bit to me, and I also don't love the narrator's voice. So yeah, I think it's like I don't know. I know a lot of people really like it. Like it has really good reviews, and I typically love V. Schwab. She's like my favorite author. But this one, I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot like going on too. There's like multiple timelines and like multiple POVs, which my book does have. So it does help me with that. But like I think the multiple timelines is like kind of confusing me with reading it on audiobook. But yeah, those are my updates on reading. I realize I haven't really updated you guys on reading in a while. So yeah, I think that's everything for now. I'm going to read. I talked a lot right now. Or not read, I'm going to write for a bit and I will chat with you guys later. Which there certainly is after that music video. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the end of the vlog. So, I wanted to end this vlog here and update you guys on my writing. I have actually had a really good writing week. I have been writing every morning before work, and the start of the week, I was writing my film script, Project K pop, which is going really well. I'm really enjoying the story and just the dialogue and all the characters I have. So, really enjoying that project. I am just starting sequence three, so like the fun and games section of the film, which I have some fun scenes for that kind of like in my head. And I have a fun like end to that sequence. So, yeah, really enjoying that script overall. And it's just like a fun world. And I love the themes that I'm doing for this one because I feel like not a lot of people talk about this stuff, like within K pop and even just in like regular fame in general, and like how much that can affect your mental health with like everyone, giving their opinions on you and just all that stuff. So I'm really just enjoying like the themes that I'm inputting and like trying to knock out themes and like the dialogue and stuff like that. But obviously, like, not make it too obvious. So I feel like my dialogue is slowly like evolving and getting better. That's the one issue I have with writing scripts usually is my dialogue. I feel like I am very like generic and very to the point, and like I also tend to like go on forever in dialogue. But obviously with a script, like you don't want super long scenes. Like I like really like action packed and like punchy scenes. So I'm trying to do better with my dialogue so that my manuscript isn't like super long. Like I don't want to be an Aaron Sorkin is what I'm trying to get at. But I mean I love Aaron Sorkin movies, but like his scripts are very long if you have not read any of his scripts. So yeah, that's going really well. I'm still continuing with the between. I wrote that like the second half of the week and really enjoying what I'm writing so far. I kind of changed like the direction of it a little bit from like what I wrote for my pilot, and I just wrote a really interesting scene, and I'm loving it. I'm loving how it's coming together, and I'm getting back into the hang of like writing prose. And yeah, I mean the last scene I wrote has like a lot of conversation in it, but the teens are like playing a game, so there's just like a lot of conversation with that. So but yeah, there's a lot of like tension building, and it's just like it's so fun. I really love it. So yeah, still loving that. I made a couple of extra mood boards, which I'll probably put here. I made a mood board for my characters. So I've made so far Parker and Natalie, and they're kind of Natalie hasn't come up in the story yet, but she will be a key character later on. And Parker is like my main character. And I just love how they look. I feel like they are perfect. Like they just match their personalities, their just everything about them. Like I feel like I put it in picture form like pretty well. It was really fun putting those together. So I think I'll do one for each of my characters, and then I'll just show you like as the vlogs go on. I have not made my character card for Ethan yet. He is an antagonist that I forgot to add in my initial PowerPoint that I showed you. I was like, something's missing here. And I was like, oh yeah, there's like not really an antagonist in here. So yeah, I should add that. I mean, the world is kind of an antagonist, but it's high, it like blends itself to be something. It's trying not to be an antagonist. It's trying to like blind these characters to think that like it's actually good, like good things are happening out of here, but it is gonna like turn into an antagonist, if that makes any sense at all. But like my physical like person antagonist, I was like, I totally forgot to write his board. So I will probably write that over the weekend. I will see you guys all in the next video. If you like this, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to subscribe, definitely do, only if you want to. And I hope you have a good week. Bye.